The NFL has mastered something the NBA still struggles with, turning even regular season games into a must-watch event. And I believe it has a lot to do with this: NFL films. What started as a father's hobby in the early 1960s set the stage for something much bigger. A simple experiment in filming football would eventually turn ordinary games into epic examples of storytelling and change the way fans experience the sport. The NFL dominates American sports culture in a way few leagues can match. Year after year, NFL games sit at the top of TV ratings, and the Super Bowl pulls in over 100 million viewers, numbers that make even the biggest NBA Finals games look small. What separates the NFL isn't just the talent on the field or the size of the stadiums. It's that they understand something deeper. Games alone aren't enough to keep people coming back. The drama, the rivalries, the moments that decide a season are all turned into stories that fans can't ignore. And the biggest engine behind that is NFL films. They're the ones responsible for the cinematic shots, the camera angles, the music, and the narration that turns a regular game into something epic. They even team up with outside filmmakers while still keeping the NFL stories front and center. A perfect example of this is a recent Jerry Jones and Dallas Cowboys documentary on Netflix. This is another way that the league makes sure its narrative stays everywhere. From slow motion hits to locker room moments, NFL films help the league create a cultural ritual. Fans don't just watch the games, they follow the season like a story unfolding, week after week. And none of this happens without the spark that started it all. Not a league initiative, not a marketing plan, just one man's hobby and passion for film. A small experiment with a camera that will grow into the storytelling empire we now know as NFL films.
Nice to see you, pal. Godfather. We gotta do it again for the cameras. I mean it, man. I mean it.
By the way, NFL Network has
Steele, what I do now is because of what you've done.
McDonald's with a free agent contract.
So many of us owe you a real thank you.
This was a moment 50 years in the making. And it was fitting that Sable's NFL career ended with a Hall of Fame jacket, because that's exactly where his story starts.
Ed Sable didn't start out as a filmmaker. In fact, he didn't start out in any creative field at all. He made his living working for his wife's father at their family's overcoat manufacturing business. But after receiving a camcorder as a wedding gift, something sparked. Ed started filming everything, from family vacations, moments around the house, and even his kids just growing up. Over time, it became evident that he was falling in love with the process of capturing life on film. One of his favorite subjects quickly became his son Steve, who played football. Ed would attend almost all of his son's games, filming Steve in action on the field. He would even offer what he filmed to the coaches of the team at the end of each game. When his father-in-law decided to retire and sell the coat manufacturing business, Ed walked away with a large payout for his share of the company. And instead of settling down, he used that money to take a risk, to chase his newfound passion.
So he decided to make his hobby his profession.
Sable named his new film company after his daughter, Blair. Finding an exciting subject matter was not as easy.
I went to New York and went to the Bahamas Tourist Board, and I presented them with an idea to make a film touring the Bahamas in a little single-engine airplane. Nothing spectacular, but at least I got enough money to buy a couple more lenses.
The company mostly handled television and tourism ads, but the creative spark was still there. After a failed production for the opening of a Philadelphia aquarium, where he was supposed to film and document the journey of a whale that never actually arrived at the aquarium, Ed began to rethink his approach to the business. He realized the same passion and attention to detail he'd once poured into filming his son's football games could be brought to the professional level. He saw the cinematic potential in NFL football long before anyone else ever did. His first real opportunity came when he placed a $5,000 bid to film the 1962 NFL championship game. It was a bold move at the time. There was no roadmap for what he was trying to do, but he believed in what football could look and feel like through a lens. Standing out in negative 10-degree weather, Ed shot the game himself, framing every play as if it were a scene in a movie. Upon release, the film Ed made for the 1962 championship was a success. Ed went on to shoot the 1963 and 1964 championship games, each one refining his vision for what he created a little bit more. After the 1964 championship game, he approached Pete Rozelle, the commissioner of the NFL at the time, and presented him with an idea: a dedicated division within the league that would handle the storytelling side of football. This pitch became the foundation for what would evolve into NFL Films. For any creative or anyone trying to turn a hobby into something real, there are two major lessons you can take from Ed Sable's story. 1. Find a way to make use of your talents to serve others. Ed saw that his talent and passion for filmmaking could be used to help promote and showcase professional football to a wider audience. 2. Think of a way to create your own opportunity if there's no clear opportunity in sight. Ed started out making home videos and filming his children. He could have stopped there, but he came up with ways to use the resources he had to put his talents to use. The story of NFL Films begins with Ed Sable, but it was his son Steve who became the fuel that kept the machine running, transforming it into the creative powerhouse that shaped how we see football today.
I'm standing in the NFL Films library. There's 6,000 miles of film in here. I've shot some of it, edited a lot of it, and seen all of it. I'm Steve Sable of NFL Films.
Steve was responsible for the total look of NFL Films, from the scripts.
Frightfully instead of frighteningly.
I'm glad you said it.
Okay.
Most importantly, the music.
We're ready for another session, Sam.
Hey, wonderful.
And listen, I got some ideas, and as usual, I'll be sending you a tape, and you'll hear in this tape the way these trumpets come in, and I think this is Goosebump City here.
The camera work. He was a cameraman himself.
I really thought, I'd be honest with you, I thought this was going to be a lot heavier than it is.
He was the first producer, editor for the use of montage. So all that was passed on to later generations and became the look and style of NFL film.
Growing up with a father like Ed Sable, who filmed nearly every moment of his life, it's easy to see how Steve developed a passion for filmmaking. But unlike his father, Steve didn't discover creativity later in life. He was born with it. Even more than that, he understood how to use it, how to turn his creative instincts into opportunity.
He made up a whole world around himself that was hilarious.
He knew what would be good copy.
It helped that Sable was the one writing the copy.
The programs, we didn't really know he was writing them. It was all done just off somewhere by himself.
I had an ad. It said, the Possum Trot Chamber of Commerce wishes its favorite son, Sudden Death Sable, a successful season.
Sudden death?
Well, I gave myself a nickname.
Sudden death?
Oh, yeah, you had to have a nickname. Sudden Death was my initials, Stephen Douglas Sable.
Steve had an understanding of something far ahead of his time, the power of building a personal brand. He also understood that the foundation of building a brand is authenticity. It has to reflect who you are at the core. For Steve, that meant channeling his creativity into everything he did, using it not only to express himself, but also to carve out his own identity in the world of sports and storytelling. It was in college where Steve first merged his love for football with his creative instincts. He didn't just play, he built a story around himself, designing t-shirts, creating mock newspaper articles about himself, and even mailing them to actual sports writers. His efforts eventually paid off when he was featured in Sports Illustrated for his creative and entrepreneurial approach to self-promotion. Now I want to pause here and talk directly to anyone creating or building a personal brand. If you add creative flair or exaggerate parts of your story, make sure it's still authentic to who you are and what you're actually doing. Steve Sable wasn't really from Possum Trot, but he did play football. That authenticity was the anchor behind everything he created. Those early experiments in crafting his own mythology as a college football player became the foundation of what he would later bring to NFL Films. Steve was able to bring a highly artistic approach to filming the NFL and made it consumable for the NFL audience. He set the blueprint to how NFL is filmed today, from the camera angles to how we see pre-game montages and post-game highlights. Both Ed and Steve Sabol have since passed, but what they built together continues to live on, a legacy that reshaped how we see sports, storytelling, and emotion through film.